Hello, I'm CammyG and welcome back to our Fortnite Save the World videos. We are doing guides on the Dungeons mode and starting with the Crypts. So this is the first one you unlock. It's the most basic. I wouldn't say it's the easiest and it's definitely not the shortest, but you know, it is easier than some, and you know, it's the most basic layout, for example. So we're going to go in with Commander Ramirez, that top loadout that we advocate for. We'll show some loadouts in a bit, but yeah, the main core goal of Dungeons is to basically on each level find 2 keys. There's 4 levels. The 4th level will be a boss, and we'll see why this isn't the shortest when we get to the boss, but I'm just going to run through and talk about it as we go through. I've got other gameplay to show bits and bobs as well. There's a lot to talk about. This is mainly going to be a guide on how to sort of complete it, some shortcuts maybe, stuff like that. We do have another Dungeons tips and tricks video, so there's stuff in there. I'm not going to cover absolutely everything in this one. This is more just focused on Crypts in particular, so you can see the sort of paths we take, and I'll try show some of the shadow key locations. So that is the key that you have to, it's basically hide and seek. So on each level you have to find 2 keys. The first will be hide and seek, so it'll be hidden somewhere, and you start out in the wilderness on all of them, by the way, and have to do like a mini version of it. It's very quick on the outside bit, and then when you get into the floors it takes a bit longer. And then the other key you get for raising monoliths, so those are the cube monster spires. Usually you have 3 to get. I think it's the lab that makes it 4, but I'm just gonna do this real quick. If you want to be super quick with this, you should really start your going commando here, then you can shoot that one, shoot this close range one, and then get the long range. There are a few spots the key can spawn over there, so it's kind of dependent on that. If you do really want to be super quick about it, you can super, speed up your process, but I like to also shoot the wall of the building when I'm doing my going commando, and that way I can just run straight in. I don't need to hide. I don't need to jump through the windows. We don't need to go through the door. Saves a little bit of time, and then just bear in mind that when you have our build, keep using your shockwave to get that speed increase. Now we have a monolith, so we're just going to shoot those. Generally I'd recommend shooting the first monoliths you see. I wouldn't skip past any because you're going past it anyway. If you're on a long cooldown, then maybe you'd want to skip it, but generally you want to shoot all of them. I've only got 4 seconds left, so yeah, I'm just going to wait, and our key is in the next room, so what I'm also going to do is shoot the monolith, and try clear the area a little bit to help me get to that key, but it looks like it's just right around the corner. Now obviously you want to be wary of traps while doing this. The thing you can do as a hint for traps is the floor will break if a trap's going to place. See that? That's because a trap was above. We do need to raise this as well before we go through. But I should have some other recorded examples, but we might find one as we go through this one as well. But yeah, if you are going through a corridor and a trap appears on the floor, you will see the floor break when it traps. So it's kind of like a warning. So, you might be running through very quickly. It can be hard to react to traps if you are running through really quickly. This is a good shortcut spot here. You can just go up this top bit. Hey, thank you so much for watching the video. As usual, if you want to go above and beyond in supporting me, we have memberships, but if you wanted to get something physical, we have these Fortnite Funko Pops that I can also sign. We've got a merch page. It's just in the description, so if you want to see that, then go ahead and check it out. Thank you so much, and yeah, enjoy the rest of the video. You can kind of skip this a little bit by going to the top bit, but again, just bear in mind the traps and such. You will get a mini boss in this location, so you'll see him spawn in a second. There he is. It's a smasher. He got stuck on something, not sure what, and then there's a monolith there as well, so we'll just get both of those. Be careful because you can get traps here. Oh, there you go, there's one. And then, we're not wasting time, we're moving on. Now, you don't have to speedrun these every time, obviously, but I do want to try show the guide for speedrunning as well. So just keep remembering every, 10 to 15 seconds to use that shockwave. Now, we only need 2 monoliths here, so I'm just going to shoot this one. And then there's one over there, and then we can see the keys up there. So what I just like to do is just clear the area a little bit, just in case it's behind a wall. Saves us a little bit of time. We can see there's a trap there, so we're just going to build over it. Could see that one had built there as well. Gonna grab this. Use my shockwave. That will kill the enemies, and also it cleared the area from it as well. And then you might have seen another one. I like to block the doorway. If you can't block it, just place the stairs, because there was like an archway there, so it wouldn't let us place a wall. So we'll just place the stairs instead. Now I'm going to slow down a bit because we want to talk about actual tips instead of just speedrunning it ourselves. But there's some, shortcuts like this. You can just jump straight down. Now, once you play these modes, these maps, once you've played it a few times, you will get used to the map and where things are and the layout and such, and the key spots. There's only a finite number of places that key can spawn. I'm not sure on an actual number on that. I haven't gone through it enough times to, I wasn't counting anyway. But I want to say there's like 4 or 5. I don't think I've seen more than 5 in one area, locations for the keys. Another big hint, which they do tell you in the game, is these purple lights will light the way. So you want to follow those. That was kind of a dangerous move because I might not be able to place a floor there. But yeah, they'll go dim once you've gone past them, so it's a little clue as to where you've already been and where you haven't already been. So just keep an eye out for that. It does really help in some of the later maps, where it's a bit more difficult to tell, where you're going. But on this one, it's not too bad, honestly, the crypts. So, we'll just carry on making our way through. And the next floor will be the boss. So, before we get to the boss fight, more hints. So if you're going for gold, in particular, with, doing this, maybe that's why you're farming the mode. It's why I farm the mode on my alt account, because the gold is very handy for the item shop, for the event items and weekly items. If you're doing that, you want to just slow down a little bit if you can, and whether you're playing lefty-righty or going commando, just take care to try get 100 urns every time you run this. Now, I got a head start on this one because I didn't get 100 last time I ran it, because this is on my main account and I don't really care about the gold on this one. But yeah, just make sure you're picking up the gold from enemies. You'll get usually more from takers, mist monsters in general, and then the mini bosses will drop a few as well. There's also a repeating challenge for mini bosses, so again, it can be useful to sort of hang around a little bit to kill them to get more gold and stuff. You don't necessarily need to, because you could just run another dungeon in the time it takes you to just farm gold that way. But it's something worth calling out, I think. So for the hero loadouts you want to use for dungeons, the main one I recommend is using Going Again as the core perk. So that decreases Going Commando cooldown by 66%. Combining this with Happy Holidays means that your cooldown, if you go to abilities, is 20.4 seconds, which means after you use it for 15 seconds, there's only 5 seconds to use it again. Or if you cancel it after 5 seconds, it's just 15 seconds before you can use it again. If you're just taking out one monolith or whatever it might be. Now, you can increase the duration by 5 seconds with Ain't Done Yet. First Cup of the Day will increase the crit rating and crit damage. Boomstick will increase the damage. Escape Artist will give you a movement speed increase after using Shockwave. And then Survivalist in that last spot just to keep your health up. Now, if you do want to go for a lefty-righty build, I do recommend Carbide. So his pistols will turn into energy. They will bounce around, and in dungeons, everything's like a tight space. It'll just bounce around, destroying everything. The only downside is his cooldown is 60 seconds, even with Happy Holidays in there. There's no cooldown reduction percentage perk, but there is Where's Lefty. I don't have it in my build, but every time you get pistol eliminations outside of lefty and righty, it will decrease the cooldown by a second. It's something potentially you could put in, but you're not really going to be guaranteed to have a pistol in dungeons because it's just random weapons and stuff, so I don't personally recommend it, but it's up to you. We've got increased damage by 25%. We've got increased the duration by 10 seconds if you get 10 eliminations. Not super important, but nice to have. Hand cannons will just give more explosive power, so it might end up, just happening to destroy another urn, for example. Escape Artist, again, for that movement speed. And then Survivalist, again, for the survivability. Now, the last one you could potentially use is... there's plenty of stuff you can use, but these are the best ones. If you really like Constructor, you can go in Constructor build. And, you could just replace some of these with hardware impact, stuff like that. The main thing is having rigs in the main slot, having Happy Holidays, and you'd want Hotwire in there as well. Survivalist is nice for the health. Battle Beat just increases the damage with eliminations and stuff. But yeah, these two could work on your impact stuff, but he's not really like a main hero to use. It's just one that I thought I'd throw out there. Now, in terms of tips as well, if you are struggling, we did go over it in the tips and tricks, but you can drop your power level either by unslotting survivors or by swapping them out for lower level survivors. You know, you could just unslot your resistance maybe, and probably offense, because you're not going to use your weapons that much. You're going to use your abilities for the most part. So you can swap those out, and then you'll be a lower power level. You can access a lower power level of, you know, version of the dungeon, and that will make it a lot easier for yourself, because the enemies are below you be doing more damage, because I know on some of the sort of middle levels it's almost impossible to find teammates, so that really helps with that. Other than that, in terms of tips for the crypts in particular, there's not really too much else to say, I don't think, other than when we get to the boss fight. You know, it's quite a unique boss fight, the way they do it, which we'll see when we get in there. But outside of that, yeah, there's not too much to show. If you do need chests for your daily or something like that, then you can find them in here. They always spawn in the same place, so if you find a chest in a dungeon, it will be there every single time. It might not be the same rarity, I think they can change, but it will always be in the same location. Right, now the boss fight for the crypts. So, the way it works is you have Vlad, the boss. He's a taker. He comes in at the start. We could just throw a turret down. We can pull out our Going Commando. He will die very quickly at the start with a strong ability like Going Commando. There's he gone. Once you get him to 50% health, he then leaves for a minute. And you've just got to stand here and survive the regular enemies, which, you know, is absolutely fine. Absolutely easy. You can just block your sides, make sure zappers can't shoot you. You can do whatever. You can actually, if you want, go up to the ceiling like this. Now, no one can break this down because it's connected into the ceiling. Like, we aren't, if I drop down, this is a floating structure, effectively, so they can't knock you down. You can just wait up here. Now, when he comes back after the 60 seconds, he's like almost invulnerable at the start, and after a certain amount of time, I think he starts regenerating his health. So it's just something to look out for, that, you know, don't pop your turret and don't use your Going Commando straight away. I'd give him like 5 seconds, and then you should be able to go for it. I'll use it straight away in this one just to show you what I mean, but it's just, you know, good advice. I'm going to drop down as well because we don't need to be up here. But yeah, it plays into the whole speedrun thing. As you can see, his health is coming down a little bit, but I mean, compare that to before. Yeah, but you'll see it start to increase and increase and increase, and then I'm just going to stop it for a few seconds, start it up again, and look at that night and day difference. And yeah, he's gone. Yeah, that goes into the whole speedrun thing. If you are running dungeons over and over again, like obviously when it's a daily dungeon, you get extra rewards. So if it's crypts, you want to do the crypts. But if it's not the crypts and you're just running like 20 dungeons back to back, crypts isn't the one to go for if you really want to speedrun, because of that minute you have to wait between the two boss waves. It's not the quickest one you can farm, because you have that, you know, it's a fixed minute that you have to add on to the end, which kind of sucks. But it is the most simple in terms of, you know, the actual layout of the dungeons. They are very short, very small, so it can be, you know, it's the first one you unlock. You can expect it to be the easiest, and I think it is the easiest. The boss fight is probably either easiest or second easiest, but it just takes a lot longer, so it's not the fastest dungeon to do. But yeah, hopefully this all helps if you are struggling on the crypt, or if you try to do it in 140. Obviously you can try use some of this advice as well, and the loadouts. But yeah, hopefully it helped you out. If it did, please do let me know, and you know, of course, subscribe for the other ones. But yeah, cheers and see you later.